They are three faces of the Senate scandal, and their fates appear to be sealed. Mike Duffy, Pamela Wallin, and Patrick Brazeau face a vote today to suspend them from the Senate over the expenses scandal. Just hours before that precedent-setting vote, CBC News is learning more about the direction the RCMP investigation into the scandal is taking. And we'll have more on that coming up with a report out of Ottawa from Diana Swain in just a moment. But let's begin with Hannah Thibedeau in Ottawa, because Hannah, it's going to be a big day in the Senate that follows another late night last night, and it culminated in an emotional plea from one of the senators at the heart of this. Take us through what happened.
Absolutely. That was Senator Patrick Brazeau. He started his speech by conceding that it would likely be his last one in the Red Chamber. He had very strong words for the Senate committee that says he owes $50,000 for inappropriate expenses. He said that it was political interference right to the top that said that he owed that money by the Senate committee, and it wasn't, in fact, the Deloitte audit. He goes on to say that the rules aren't clear, like many of the other senators involved in this whole issue, and called it a gong show and a farce. It was his last-ditch effort to try to save his career, his job in the Senate, because he could go for as long as 2 years without a salary. And he also had a message for his children. Take a listen to that.
It is very important that you understand that I am not guilty of what some of these people are accusing me of. It is very important that you know that I am not a thief, a scammer, a drunken Indian, a drug addict, a failed experiment, or a human tragedy.
Very strong words there, and his speech, in fact, hit some of the senators listening to it extremely hard. Here's Senator Jim Munson.
I found it very emotional. I said to one senator, I've never seen anything like this in the Senate, and why it had to come to this. And to me, it was a history on the run. It's kind of a history you don't want to live. In some ways, it hurts to watch this happening this way.
So, Senator Munson there weighing in after last night's drama. Today, we reach another key day, perhaps the most critical day. The vote coming this afternoon. Hannah, walk us through what we're going to see unfold.
Well, last night it was voted that the debate would be limited, so there's only a certain amount of time before the vote actually takes place, and it's expected to happen at 5:30 Eastern tonight. Remember that there is currently one motion forward for the senators to be expelled without pay for the full session. They would get to keep their medical benefits. However, that would be 2 years without pay for these three senators, something they definitely don't want to see happen. We've heard their appeals in the Red Chamber. Now, the opinions seem to be split in the Conservative caucus as to whether to vote them out of the Senate. There are some Conservatives who feel strongly against this. In fact, you'll remember Hugh Segal has always been a strong advocate on behalf of Senator Pamela Wallin, and he says that it's important that the senators listen because this is not following due process. So he's been trying to convince some of his colleagues to vote against this motion or these motions, whatever it ends up becoming. And here's what he had to say about his attempts at trying to convince his colleagues to defeat these motions.
You do your best to defend the principles that are important and the notion of fairness, and to fight against pretrial sentencing, and you hope it has an impact, but every senator will make up their own mind. I don't have the capacity to predict, and I have not changed my prediction on whether there are enough votes. For the last 2 weeks, I've been quite consistent.
So enough votes. What they would need to defeat this would be 11 Conservatives, that's if everyone is in attendance in the Red Chamber, to vote against the government motion to defeat it. And currently, they're about 5 who are willing to either vote against or abstain. So that simply isn't enough. If this stays this way, the motion will pass and these 3 senators will be expelled from the Senate without pay, keeping their medical benefits. And again, that vote is expected to happen at 5:30 Eastern this evening.